Dinosaurs are some of the coolest animals around. We have movies about them, toys, stories, games, and of course the really weird and ever-changing universe that is Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park shows how bringing these scale and feathered-covered titans of old back would go, and spoiler, it wouldn't go well. Dinos are terrifying in their own right, but the funny thing is that despite how old they are, they're not the be-all end-all of old creatures. Sure, they've been gone for 65 million years, but there were creatures that thrived before them. Heck, some even sort of survived the dinosaurs, just in different incarnations. From a really weird-looking ancient shark to a carnivorous whale, here are 10 of the weirdest and scariest pre-dinosaur creatures. With all that said and done, let's begin, shall we? We start off with a shark that looks more akin to a Digimon. More than likely I'm mispronouncing its name, but its name is Acmonishan. Sharks are some of the most ancient creatures still on the planet, appearing one day in prehistory and still continue to survive to this day, prowling the seas looking for their next meal. We have some fierce-looking ones like the tiger shark, and some goofy ones like the sawtooth and the hammerhead. But this one we're talking about? Well, again, he honestly looks like some sort of lost Pokemon. Acmonishan, who lived during the early Carboniferous period, seemed to look like a mutant shark with some sort of algae growing on its body. Observe, for instance, the anvil-like fin on top of it, making it look more like a sort of mobile blacksmith forge rather than an actual shark. However, that wasn't the only bizarre feature of this 3-foot-long shark, as it also had triangular patches of spines forming on the top of its head. I can't say what these were for, but it really does add to his bizarre appearance. We then come to the Dimetrodon, and you might think that this is actually a dinosaur, as it's so commonly pictured with dinosaurs, and, well, let's be honest here, it looks like a dinosaur. However, the Dimetrodon is not in any way related. In fact, these Permian sailbacks are more closely related to mammals than they were the lizards. The Dimetrodon actually has the distinction of being one of the most enormous apex predators of its time when it lived some 295 million years ago in the Permian period. They could grow up to 15 feet long and had a massive sail on its back, similar to that of the familiar Spinosaurus of Jurassic Park fame. The animal lived in swampy regions, more than likely feeding on smaller animals and large insects that were native to its habitat, maintaining its hold as the biggest bat around at the time. Of course, he is outpaced by dinosaurs, but he's still a pretty cool little animal. We then come to a pretty big fish called Titanichthys. Larger than modern great whites, we come to the rather appropriately named Titanichthys, one of the biggest of all the armored prehistoric fishes of his time. These armored fish were pretty bizarre, honestly. They started to fade out some 360 million years ago as well. While the Dunkleosteus gets most of the attention for giant prehistoric fishes, and rightfully so, the Titanichthys was possibly even more fearsome and also just as dangerous, reaching lengths of at least 27 feet and probably as long as 35 feet. Titanichthys also did have one up over its cousin the Dunkleosteus, that being a bigger mouth with blunter teeth, allowing it to swallow larger prey and have better maneuverability. Now let's move on to a further period with the Jackalopterus, which I'm pretty sure I mispronounced. Dinosaurs are 65 million years old, but hop on over to the Devonian period some 390 million years ago. This is where giant sea scorpions were the apex predators of their environmental niches, and positively absolutely petrifying. Ugh, it's like looking at a nightmare. The horrifyingly large Jackalopterus was not only the biggest of the sea arachnids, growing up to 8.5 feet long, but he actually was the largest known arthropod to have ever existed. Take those giant scorpions from the Fallout series and you pretty much have this thing, but in real life. Thankfully it's extinct though. However, rather than the open ocean, scientists believed it also dwelled in freshwater lakes and rivers. But either way, it would have been right at the top of its food chain, hunting around lakes and estuaries with its 18-inch claw-like mouthparts latching onto almost anything in its path, ready to eat, tear, and repeat. Again, nightmare fuel. We then move on to Scutosaurus. Back over to the Permian period between 252 and 299 million years ago, we come to this absolute unit of a friggin' reptile. The hulking Scutosaurus roamed the earth, still millions of years before the dinosaurs would take their place as the dominant terrestrial animals, feasting on plants and flora alike. Scutosaurus was a truly enormous reptile for its time, a creature that grew up to 10 feet in length as well as also sporting a 20-inch skull. Its name means shield lizard, owing to its armor-plated body and the various spikes that adorned its skull. Now, I'll admit, this one may not be ferocious like some of the other choices on today's list, but you can't deny that this tank of an animal would not have been easy to deal with nowadays. Let's move on though to Jurassic. So this thing looks like some sort of weird alien you would see in Subnautica. In fact, I wouldn't blame you for thinking that this actually was an alien. While it certainly wasn't an alien, it actually was related to a Cambrian maritime super predator, who also looked like some alien freak from outer space. However, this arthropod did reach up to 7 feet in length and was most likely the largest animal in the world when it lived during the early Ordovician, some 480 million years ago. This weird, armored slug thing would have looked vaguely like a horribly large prawn with 2 pairs of swimming flaps and frontal spines dangling down from its mouth. Unlike its early ancestors, however, Jurassic was likely a filter feeder, owing to its size, so you don't gotta worry, this thing wouldn't bother you. We now come to the rather popular Dunkleosteus. Dunkleosteus is one of the more recognizable breeds of ancient fish, what with its vacant eyes and horrifying looking teeth made of bone. These teeth are actually pretty special though. Aside from being made of bone, they're actually sharpened to perfection for slicing and cutting its prey to shreds. This was done every time the fish opened and closed its mouth, the bones grinding against each other and sharpening it every single time. The fish possessed a 4-bar linkage jaw, allowing its jaw to operate at high speed, closing and opening. The Dunkleosteus lived in the late Devonian period, which was 358 million years ago. It's actually placed among the largest placoderms of its time, right alongside its brother, the Titanichthys. While the Dunkleosteus is smaller, it is arguable that it's a deadlier fish. This is due to its jaws, like I said before, and also on top of that, it probably had deadlier efficiency. We now come to Helicomprion. Honestly, there was going to be a few sharks on this list, and Megalodon wasn't one of them. But here's another weird shark. We come to the true sawtooth shark, the Helicomprion. The Helicomprion had special tooth whorls, jaws consisting of dozens of enamel-covered teeth that were in a spiral-shaped loop. This allowed the Helicomprion to better grip prey in its mouth. The Helicomprion lived in the Permian period and can grow up to 26 feet long. While the Helicomprion is a bizarre-looking individual, it was considered a fierce predator of its time. And let's be honest here, it is pretty memorable due to its freakish appearance. Let's move on to a totally before dinosaurs animal, the Basilosaurus. Okay, admittedly this is cheating. This here is Basilosaurus, a creature that lived 41 million years ago in today's oceans. Yes, I know this is way after and during the dinosaur period, so why is it here? Well, I'll be honest, it's such a cool creature, I just really like it. Also, I'm both writing and narrating this video, so my rules. And with that said, Basilosaurus was considered to be the largest and biggest apex predator of its marine environment, devouring sharks and other marine mammals at its leisure. This animal is unique in that it's more of a carnivorous whale rather than a lizard, being classified as an early marine mammal that gave live birth. Another special adaptation of the Basilosaurus is that its molars and jaws seemed adapted to chew its food instead of simply ripping chunks off and swallowing whole, allowing the beast to gain more nourishment from its kills. Today's best pick seems to be a combo of a dog and an alligator, with the large fangs to match both species. This is a creature native to the Gorgonopsia family that lived between 260 to 254 million years ago, and was considered to be one dangerous predator of its time. Without further ado, we have Gorgonops. Yeesh, this is one terrifying non-dino. Again, like a dog and a croc fused into one horrifying package of hunger and pain, ready to chase you down for tonight's supper. These monstrosities of nature had large canine teeth that had little trouble penetrating hides of some of the tougher herbivores around. With those teeth, these guys had a leg up on their prey due to their advanced legs that supported their bodies from below, allowing them to run faster and be more maneuverable. This could be considered one of the top predators of its time, and it would certainly deserve that title with its attributes alone. And that is our list for today, everybody. I really do hope you enjoyed it. Which was your favorite part of the list? Anything you think we forgot, or are you simply mad that I cheated with the whale? Well, let me know in the comment section down below because I'm not sorry about that choice. Let us know in the comment section down below what else you'd like to see. And with all that said and done, I'll see you all next time. Later, everybody.